Now, I wasn't planning on doing a video till tomorrow, but you know me by now. Sometimes I just spontaneously do videos on a Saturday or a Sunday. I've done that actually quite often in the last month. I've done a few Saturday and Sunday videos. If you remember, in 2017, 2018, I rarely did videos on Saturdays and or Sundays. I'd say only maybe like 5% of the time. But in the last, I would say in the last 4 to 5 weeks, I've done actually quite a few videos on a Sunday. But I just wanted to come. Now, I'm going to warn you. Well, I might do a Patreon portion. I was going to say I'm not going to do it a Patreon portion because this video ain't going to have nothing to do with dating relationships. But now I'm thinking about it. I might segue it into a Patreon portion towards the end. But the portion definitely that's free for YouTube ain't going to have nothing to do with dating relationships. Now, by now, everybody who's a follower of mine, and more specifically, if you're a single heterosexual male of African American descent, or even African descent, basically you black, you know what's been up the last week. Y'all know I had a parting of ways with somebody who I was collaborating with. And I understand there's still chatter to do with this incident. Because evidently the person I parted ways with got a lot to say. He got a lot to say. Now stop right there. Stop right there. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? I want you to think about this. This is real talk. When you have a parting of ways with someone, and you have very little to say, but the other person has a whole lot to say, what does that tell you about that person? What does that tell you about that person? If you don't know, let Alan Roger Currie break it down to you. That means that person was maintaining essentially a phony friendship with you. That's what that means in a nutshell. That means that person was maintaining a phony friendship with you. Your friendship wasn't genuine. Your friendship with that person wasn't real. It wasn't genuine. Anytime you part ways with someone and you have very little to say negatively about that person, but the person you parted ways with got a whole bunch of negative stuff to say about you, what that means is that I just talked about this about 2 weeks ago, before this even all happened. I did a Patreon exclusive video where I said a large part of people's anger is really just suppressed truth. Suppressed truth. And it's just being provoked to rise to the surface. I'll give you a quick example. Let's say you had a friend and you was always giving him rides. Different places. You was always giving this person rides. In some places you gave him rides was real far. And you deep down, you really wanted to ask that person for gas money. You really wanted to say, hey man, I've been giving you a lot of rides, different places, man. Why don't you, give me some money for gas? But instead of being mode one and straightforward about that, you just kind of suppress it. But it's still in your mind. You suppress it. The moment you and that dude fall out, guess what you're going to bring up? Guess what you're going to say when y'all fall out? Let's say y'all have a big argument and y'all end up going your separate ways. You're going to be like, motherfucker, fuck you then, you broke ass motherfucker. All them rides I gave you, but your cheap ass never gave me no gas money. Because you a cheap ass motherfucker. You never gave me no gas money, you cheap broke motherfucker. And the person is probably going to be like, damn, where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? That's because you suppressed that truth for a number of weeks, number of months. and then you let it come up. Basically, when y'all was cool, you didn't have the confidence and the courage to tell that person your true feelings about him. You wait until something had to happen, and then you let your truth. That's basically what I said in this video about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I said a lot of angry outbursts by people is really postponed or delayed truth. Postponed or delayed truth. Reminds me of that scene from New Jack City. Remember Nino Brown? When he found out Christopher Williams did something, if you saw New Jack City, then he stabbed him in the hand and said, "I never liked you anyway, you pretty motherfucker." Yeah. Key words. He said, "I never, Never, I never liked you anyway, you pretty motherfucker." See, if you've been following me since I've been on YouTube, like when I first came on once again in early April of 2017. And if you've been following me since then, I know a lot of you haven't, but for those who have, you'll remember a particular video. It was one of my first 5 to 10 videos I did that first month. And I was talking about when I was in graduate business school, or what's otherwise known as MBA school. M as in Mary, B as in boy, A as in apple. MBA school at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. And a lot of the college programs, particularly graduate business programs, they'll have you take at least 1, if not 2 or 3 personality tests. Personality tests. And I'll put a link to 1 or 2 of the more popular ones. Probably the most, I want to say arguably the most popular one is called the Myers-Briggs. Myers-Briggs. It helps give potential employers a profile of the type of guy you are. That's the main people who use it, among other people, is potential employers. They want to see what type of person you are, if you'll be a good fit for their company. So I took these 2 personality tests. And every student in the program who took personality tests, they would have their faculty, their designated faculty advisor, discuss their results with them. And my faculty advisor, of course, discussed it with me. And he brought me into his office, and he kind of just looked at me with this look. And let's call him Mr. Wilson. I said, "Okay, Mr. Wilson, why are you staring at me like that?" And he said, "Alan, I just got the results of both of your personality tests." He said, "Yours were very interesting. Maybe the most interesting of anybody in the first year class." I said, "Really? More interesting than anybody in the entire first year class?" He said, "Arguably, yes." And I said, "Okay, how so?" He said, "First off, when we analyzed your results, we found that you have more of an entrepreneurial slant. You have more of an entrepreneurial slant." And he said that's not totally unusual, because a lot of people who enter into the business world ultimately want to be their own boss. They want to be an entrepreneur. So he said that's not totally unusual, but within the scope of our program it is, because our program, the IU, Indiana University, Kelley School of Business MBA program, is geared towards helping men and women find jobs with Fortune 500 companies, or preferably Fortune 100 companies. He said, "I think you know that. Our whole program, we're not like Harvard MBA program or Stanford MBA program or Wharton MBA program. Those top tier programs, they put a heavy emphasis on fostering society's new generation of entrepreneurs." He said, "But we're more of a second tier program." Even though I will say at the time I entered into the program, they were actually ranked number 5 in the country by U.S. News and World Report. Indiana University, Kelley School of Business MBA program was ranked number 5 in the country. But generally, they're considered right below the top tier MBA programs. Again, are Harvard, Stanford, Wharton. I think Northwestern is up there. And there's one or two other schools. Yeah, there's about 5 to 8 schools that are considered the top tier programs. Indiana, I would put them in the second tier. And but he said, yeah, the nature of our program is about helping men and women find jobs in corporate America. So he said that's the first thing that came back about your results. Is that it came emphatically clear that you don't want to work for anybody. You want to be your own boss. And he basically said, I ain't mad at you for that. If that's your ambition, more power to you. But it just makes me wonder why you chose this program. And I could get into a long, detailed explanation for that, but that's another story for another day. But actually, the IU program wasn't my first choice, even though that was my undergraduate alma mater. I actually wanted to go to either the UCLA MBA program or the USC MBA program, but I didn't get in. I got rejected. So he said that's number one. But he said here's what was even more interesting. He said there's at least a small percentage of people in the first year program that have expressed that they have entrepreneur ambitions. So you weren't the only one in that category. You're one of just a few, but you're not the only one. He said that wasn't totally unusual. But he said the second aspect of your results was kind of unusual. You might have been the only one in this regard. I said, oh, really? What's that? He said, your results show us that not only do you not want to work for people, not only do you not want to work for people, you don't want to work with people. Let me repeat that. He said, not only your results show that not only do you not want to work for people, he said that's not too uncommon. But he said you don't want to work with people. You want to be what's known as a solo entrepreneur. That's what's called a solo entrepreneur. In other words, you want to be just a one-man business. You don't want any business partners, any ongoing business colleagues, any ongoing business employees. You want to do pretty much everything by your damn self. Well, he didn't say your damn self, but essentially that's what he said. He said, you want to do everything by yourself. He said, I find that, me and my faculty colleagues found that most interesting. And again, this ain't the first time I talked about this. I talked about this again when I first got on YouTube. And I'll tell you the simple reason. I'm going to tell you emphatically the simple reason. And this is a lesson for young men entering into business. I don't trust anybody. On a business level, I don't trust anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't trust anybody. Period. End of story, enough said. I don't trust anybody. When money is involved in my relationships with people, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust, and I ain't alone in that. Why you think in most business interactions they have contracts? Now, in the old days, a lot of people would depend on what was known as a verbal agreement, or some people would also call it a handshake agreement, a verbal agreement or a handshake agreement. But in most modern day society, almost everybody who really does really big business with people, it operates on contracts, man. Like no less than 3/4 of the time I have business dealings with people, I formulate a contract. Unless the person I'm collaborating with has already formulated some kind of contract before I get a chance to. But most of the time I deal with contracts, man. Because I don't trust nobody, man. When money is a motivating factor in a relationship, I don't trust anybody. I don't care if they're a second cousin of mine. I don't care if they went to elementary school, high school, college with me. I don't care if they lived in my neighborhood for 25 years. I don't care if we went out drinking drinks, having fun, cracking jokes together. I don't trust anybody. Believe that. Alan Roger Currie don't trust anybody when money's involved. Nobody. Zero zilch. I might trust you to a degree. If I had to put percentage on it, there might be some people I trust 50%, 60%, 70%. But if you're talking about 100%, I don't trust anybody. And that's why you can say the detriment of that is that a lot of times it causes me to come across as somewhat of an asshole. I'll openly admit that. And again, I admitted that 2 years ago. I said one of the side effects of that is that a lot of times it causes me to come across as a dick, for lack of a better word. A dick, an asshole. Now, I don't trust anybody, man. Now, when money is a motivating factor in a relationship, don't trust anybody, man. Because what do we all do? We learn from our mistakes. Because I have had a handful of moments in my past where I did trust people. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call out at least one name. And the only reason I'm willing to do it because I've already talked about this publicly on my old Blog Talk radio show. So it ain't really private information. But if I had to give an example of at least one person that I somewhat trusted, since I've been a book author and dating coach that ended up stabbing me in the back, was the former dating coach named Sasha Degay. And again, I've talked about this on Blog Talk Radio. I might even briefly talked about it here on YouTube once. But yeah, that's probably the first person I can think of since I've been in my career as a book author and dating coach that stabbed me in the back, man. Because his greed for money. Matter of fact, first he fell out with David X. I talked about that too publicly, so that's not private knowledge, that's public knowledge. But yeah, right after the first direct dating summit in London in 2010, David X and Sasha fell out. And that put me in an awkward position because I was cool with both of them. It's always awkward when you got two friends and your two friends fall out with each other. And you friends with both of them. It puts you in a very awkward position. Yeah, I was cool with Sasha, I was cool with David X. And they fell out over this. Then about 2 or 3 years later, me and Sasha fell out primarily over this. See, here's what I'm saying. I'm looking at my time. I don't want to run this too long. But, see, I know from working in media and entertainment, man, and anybody who's worked in media and entertainment knows what I'm about to say. And I wouldn't limit it to just those industries. Really in the business world, period. See, there's a lot of people that will try to connect with you and collaborate with you so that not only they can make money off of you, but so that they can make more money off of you than you make off of yourself. That's what is the most fucked up. Do y'all remember the legendary singer, musician, and songwriter Prince? Everybody, even the young people know who Prince is. Y'all should remember, man, when he had that slave on his cheek. He had slave on his cheek. For those of you not ignorant to why he had that slave on his cheek, what had happened was he got to a point where he realized he ended up splitting with his company, his record company, Warner Brothers. And see, what the deal was, he just got frustrated with the fact that, I don't know the exact numbers, so these numbers I throw out are going to be estimates. I can't remember what the exact number, but for estimate purposes, this is what the situation was. Prince was making, let's say, $20 million, maybe $20 to $30 million a year off of his talents, off of his musical talents. But Warner Brothers was making somewhere between $100 to $150 million off of his musical talents. And Prince became frustrated with that. He was like, why should somebody who's never written a song, never picked up a guitar, never played the piano, be making more money off of me than I'm making off myself? Why should somebody who doesn't have 1/10 the musical talent that I do be making more money off of me, significantly more money off of me, than I'm making off myself? If you saw the TV, made for TV thing about this black group, my non-black fans might not know who this is, TLC. It's an all-black female group. If you watch that made for TV series about them, man, they was getting raped. They was getting raped. If you saw Straight Outta Compton, you saw saw where Ice Cube was smart. They tried to quickly get him to sign some contract. He was like, I ain't signing that contract until I have like 2 or 3 lawyers look at it. He said, I ain't signing that. Because he knew they was going to potentially rape his ass. That happens in the music industry all the time, among other branches of the entertainment industry. Music industry, big time. But see, that's what, in a nutshell, without getting into too many details, that's what was happening with me and Sasha. That's why David X fell out with Sasha and why I fell out with Sasha. Because I'm not going to give exact numbers, but let's just say for estimate purposes, what Sasha was doing is he would say, hey, Alan, if you collaborate with me on this project, I'm going to pay you $5,000. And I would say, great. Only found out later, he was making about $15,000 to $20,000 off of me. He was making about $15,000 to $20,000 off of me. Business 101 lesson for you young, aspiring businessmen, entrepreneurs. Anytime somebody too eager to pay you an amount, be wary of that shit. Be wary of that shit. I'm telling you from experience. Be wary of that. Like I remember one time I got invited to speak at a PUA summit. And this guy was going to pay me $10,000 to speak at this PUA summit. And it was funny, at the time he offered it, I was actually dealing with some financial struggles. So I needed that $10,000. But I respectfully declined the offer. He couldn't believe it. He was like, you turning this down? He said, I'm willing to pay you $10,000. I turned it down for 2 reasons. Number one, I don't like to be associated with conventional pickup artists. If I haven't said this once, I've said this a million times. I'm not a pickup artist. A lot of people have asked me over the years, of course, Alan, what's the difference between a pickup artist and a dating coach? I explained this in an article one time. Pickup artist is someone who gives you advice that's specifically geared towards scoring a one-night stand or weekend fling. In simple terms, that's a pickup artist. If just about all your advice centers on helping men score a quick one-night stand or weekend fling, that means you're a pickup artist. More specifically, you give advice toward helping men go to, say, like a bar restaurant or a nightclub and potentially score a quick one-night stand or weekend fling. All your advice centers around short-term, non-monogamous casual sex. Short-term, non-monogamous casual sex. Again, primarily one-night stands, weekend fling. That's a pickup artist. A dating coach gives you advice on a variety of different types of relationships. Your objective could be a long-term monogamous relationship that has the potential to lead to marriage, a long-term non-monogamous relationship, i.e. polyamorous relationship, a short-term monogamous relationship known as serial monogamy, or short-term non-monogamous casual sex. So that's the main central difference between a dating coach and a pickup artist. Pickup artists, they're all about helping you score a one-night stand and a weekend fling. I give advice related to scoring casual sex, but that's not exclusively my advice. That's why I refer to myself as more of a dating coach. I am not a pickup artist. But yeah, this guy offered me $10,000, man. That was no one reason. I didn't want to be labeled a pickup artist. I didn't want to be associated with conventional PUAs who give a lot of advice that centers around lying to women, misleading women, and manipulating women to get them in bed. But the second thing related to what I was just talking about being wary of people, this dude was almost too eager to pay me $10,000. He was too eager. Ooh. See, let Alan Roger Currie break it down for you, man, for you young, naive, impressionable people. Hey, man, let me break it down just real simple. If someone is eager to pay you, almost over anxious to pay you $10,000, you can be rest assured that person plans on making at least $50,000 off of you. If a person's too eager to pay you $100,000, 9 times out of 10, that person's going to make like $500,000 to $1 million off of you. If a person's too eager to pay you $1 million, they're going to be making $5 to $10 million off of you. Here's where I separate myself from probably 90% of the businessmen out there. Most people, they're going to always go for the highest amount, whatever the highest amount of money. I'm not like that. I'm the type of person that if you gave me a choice between these two things, between a collaboration where somebody I was going to collaborate with somebody and I was going to make $100,000 off of that collaboration, and they were going to make $50,000 off of that collaboration, that's a collaboration that more than likely I would go for. A collaboration where somebody presented me with a situation where I was going to make $100,000 that I wouldn't be able to make without that collaboration, and the person I'm collaborating with was going to be making $25,000 to $50,000 off of that collaboration. That's a collaboration I would go for. But on the flip side, if somebody offers me a collaboration where I'm going to be making $1 million, but I find out they're going to be making $5 to $10 million, I'm nuking that. I'm vetoing that. I don't want that collaboration. I don't want that collaboration, man. I don't want no collaboration with somebody going to be making more money off of me than I'm making off myself. I don't want any collaboration with somebody going to be making more money off of me than I'm making off myself. No, I don't like those collaborations. Don't like them. Don't like them at all. Don't like them at all. I don't like nobody making more money off of me. Matter of fact, I recommend a good movie for y'all to see if y'all haven't seen it already that deals more or less with this subject I'm talking about. Watch a movie called The Founder with Michael Keaton, where he plays Ray Kroc. The Founder, man. That's a must-see movie if you're thinking about entering into the world of entrepreneurship and business, is to watch the movie called The Founder. Because you always hear me talking about McDonald's, don't you? I use McDonald's as a lot of my analogies. Yeah, man, I'm going to give you the gist of it. And I'm getting ready to say spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So if you don't want to listen, turn down the volume right now, because I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. But see, when I was a little kid, I thought Ray Kroc was the founder of McDonald's. But I should have known he wasn't, because I was like, well, if he's the founder, why isn't it called Croc's Hamburgers instead of McDonald's? But yeah, when I was little, I thought Ray Kroc, because I would always see a picture of him in the McDonald's franchise, see his name. So I thought he founded McDonald's. No. Ray Kroc didn't found McDonald's. The McDonald's brothers founded McDonald's. That's why it's called McDonald's. It was two brothers. I can't remember their name. I think one was named Ray, and I can't remember the other brother's name. But basically, it was two brothers in Southern California that founded McDonald's. Not only did they invent McDonald's, they founded McDonald's. Technically, they were the ones who created the fast food industry in general. Technically, they created the fast food industry in general. Nobody was doing fast food before the McDonald's brothers. See, this is how most restaurants work before the McDonald's brothers came along. It's like a normal restaurant. In a normal restaurant, when you go to a normal restaurant, like say Red Lobster, and you order your meal, they don't start preparing your meal until you order it. They don't start preparing your meal until you order it. That's how a normal restaurant works. And that's how all restaurants work before McDonald's came along. What the McDonald's brothers came up with the idea, what if we were to pre-prepare food? Pre-prepare hamburgers, cheeseburgers, double cheeseburgers, and French fries. Pre-prepare on the expectation that we're going to have X number of customers come in. So that's what they did. They would prepare a certain number of hamburgers, cheeseburgers, double cheeseburgers, and French fries before the actual customers came into their store, their restaurant. Now, what's the risk in that? The risk in that is if you prepare 25 hamburgers, 25 cheeseburgers, 25 double cheeseburgers, 25 sets of French fries, and you only get 15 customers that come in, then that means you got to throw the food that wasn't purchased away, which McDonald's does. I used to work for McDonald's. I worked for McDonald's when I was in college. They throw big grocery bag loads of food away. Like at the end of the night, we used to have to take out big garbage bags full of unused, unpurchased Big Macs, unpurchased filet of fish. They could feed like homeless countries. Countries that are starving for food with how much food they throw away on a daily basis. Because they prepare so much ahead of time. So not only did the McDonald's brothers found McDonald's, they actually created the fast food industry. And Ray Kroc was a chocolate milkshake machine salesman. That was his original job. He was into selling chocolate milkshake machines. I shouldn't just say chocolate, any flavor. Milkshake machines. And he got contacted by the McDonald's brothers to come to their shop because they wanted to buy his milkshake machine. And when Ray Kroc took a look at how they was running their business, he was impressed. He was like, shit, this is revolutionary, what you guys are doing here. He was like, holy shit, man. And see, he was a visionary, man. There's some people who are visionaries. Within a couple of days of observing their business, in his head, he was already seeing the potential for millions and millions and millions of dollars. So he was like, yo, man, y'all got a good thing going on here, man. Here's the number one thing you need to do. You need to franchise this. And the McDonald's brothers were basically like, what? He was like, you need to, in other words, you need to duplicate this process all over the country so you can make millions of dollars. And the McDonald's brothers were like, no, we already tried that once. We tried it with a city nearby, and the one franchise we did do, the dude started selling pork chops and barbecue ribs and seafood and stuff that wasn't even on our original menu. So we don't want to do that franchising. And Ray Kroc was simply like, no, you have, I'm not talking about contracts. He said, no, you have a contract in place where you tell them to only serve the food you want them to serve. And basically the McDonald's brothers were like, we don't want to be bothered by this, man. We don't want to be bothered by that. So Ray Kroc said, well, I'm going to take it upon myself to start some franchises without you paying me money. And if I prove that this could be profitable, I want y'all to hook me up. They said, okay. So Ray Kroc started a few franchises that ended up being successful. But the McDonald's brothers didn't really pay him what he thought his efforts were worth. They paid him, but they didn't pay him what he thought his efforts were worth. So then he ends up running to a guy in the bank that tells him, hey, you know how you can make a lot of money since the McDonald's brothers are open to having their business franchise, is you purchase the buildings that house their McDonald's franchises. So he ran into a person in the bank who told him a suggestion. He said, here's what you should do. Since you don't own the McDonald's concept of their preparation of food, you can't infringe on their trademark stuff. I always talk about trademark stuff and patents and stuff. He said, you don't want to try to be guilty of infringing on their trademark and patents. But what you can do is you can purchase the building that they plan on having their franchises in. Purchase the buildings and then lease it out to them. Then that's how you'll make your money. And that's what Ray Kroc did. When he did all the franchises that start popping up around the country, what he did was he bought the building. So all the McDonald's structures you saw, Ray Kroc owned all those structures. If I had to give an analogy, it would be like, if I was using myself, it's like, say somebody came to me and said, hey, Alan, I want to help you sell more books. So what I want to do is I'm going to open up some Mode 1 bookstores all across the country. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, come on, man. Let me open up some Mode 1 bookstores all across the country. And I say, okay, do that. And then like Ray Kroc, say I pay this guy a certain amount of money, but he feels like it's not enough. So let's say this dude ends up opening up all these Mode 1 bookstores. And then he tells me if I want to keep those bookstores open, I got to lease those bookstores, the actual structure, from him. See how that works? Now, that wasn't working with me in today's society because Amazon, Jeff Bezos killed bookstores, man. You don't even hardly see bookstores anymore. Amazon killed bookstores. Everybody know that. Amazon, there's a few bookstores in major cities that still exist, but for the most part, Amazon just killed the bookstore industry. But yeah, that would be like if somebody had a bunch of Mode 1 bookstores and I had to pay this person for the actual structure, the actual bookstore structure. That's what Ray Kroc did to the McDonald's brothers. Now, here's what he did that was cool. Now, I just pretty much told you all the movie. I apologize for that. But it's still worth watching. Here's what he did that was cool. Once he realized he was making a lot of money, because he got to the point where he was making more money off of McDonald's than the McDonald's brothers was making off of McDonald's. And he gave them both a blank check. He said, he said, I could just go ahead and start my own fast food industry, but he said, I like what you guys have built. And I love your name, McDonald's. It just sounds all-American. Sounds home and friendly. He said, so I want to keep your name. So I'm going to give y'all both a blank check. And y'all want y'all to write in what you think you're worth. Whatever you write in what you think you're worth, I'll pay you to take over your business. Which I thought was actually fair. That wasn't, unscrupulous. He gave him a chance. He said. And so one brother, I think, wrote in $6 million. The other brother wrote in $3 million, which was a lot of money at that time. In the 1950s, that was a lot of money. Now, in today's standards, that ain't a lot of money. But back then, that was a lot of money. Yeah, one brother wrote in $6 million. The other one wrote in $3 million. I think he ended up giving them both $6 million apiece. And he ended up making hundreds of billions of dollars off McDonald's, a company he didn't even found or create. Just because he had smart business sense. I ain't gonna ever give nobody a chance, man, to make more money off of me than I'm making off myself. Like Prince. I'm like Prince, man. Prince broke away from Warner Brothers just on that principle, man. He was like, man, I ain't gonna have Warner Brothers making far more money off of my musical talents than I'm making off myself. Fuck that. And that's what I say. Fuck that. I don't trust anybody on the business level. When money's involved, I don't trust anybody. The downside of that is that, yeah, it causes me a lot of times to have the personality of an asshole, of a dick, of someone who's hard to get along with. Comes with the territory. But I don't trust anybody, man. That's why I like to ride solo. I like to do shit my way, by myself. I don't have any ongoing employees. I only have contract workers who work for me for a short period of time. I do occasional collaborations with people, but I don't like doing long-standing, ongoing collaborations with people because they've never worked out for me, ever. Never had a long-standing collaboration work out for me. I don't like collaborations. I like to do shit by my dammy because I don't trust anybody. Take that for what it's worth. And now, only briefly in the Patreon portion, I'm going to talk to some of you guys about how you can easily tell a materialistic woman. Because most materialistic gold diggers, they're not going to have a neon sign on their forehead that says, I'm a gold digger. They're going to be smooth and savvy about it. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like to date women who make significantly less money than me. If you know my history with women, you know that no less than 3/4 of the women I've dated in my life made more money than me. There's a reason for that. And I'm going to discuss that in the Patreon portion.